July 15th, 1987 was the first day of the rest of my life. On that day, I was 24 years old, and I knew I needed help because I had an addiction to rock cocaine. I not only didn't love myself, but I was hurting the people I loved the most. From that 3-day detox, I went to a 6-month outpatient program, which changed the rest of my life. But you know what? Sometimes the longest journey starts with the first step. Hi, my name is Todd Harris, founder of Total Life Change Ministries. As I look at my addiction and what it did not only to me, but to the whole family, my heart is to help those that want help for themselves. And not only the addict, but the whole family. That is the mission of Total Life Change.
Hi, my name is Mary Tucker. So my experience with TLC was primarily the family group that I was involved in with my son. One night a week we would meet over Zoom and participate in the family group questions and discussion. It was very, very helpful. Part of family group was helping the addicts and alcoholics learn what the family members were going through and what their anxieties are. So being able to learn how to ask those questions was very helpful. The advice I would give to someone who has a loved one that hasn't gotten help is to reach out to the recovery community, to reach out to TLC, because you're not alone. And I remember feeling like I was alone and that no one would understand what I was going through. No one could possibly be this miserable. No one, I just felt so alone and no one could possibly understand. And actually, after talking with other family members, I learned that I am not alone and there are tons of people out there that are ready and willing to help, that have experienced what you've gone through and maybe worse. And you're not looked down upon. I felt ashamed, and I realized that there's nothing to be ashamed about. And reaching out and getting help for myself was actually helping my family member.
What brought me to Total Life Change was where we had another one of those moments in the home where I was verbally abusive towards my wife. And what example was I setting for my children in that moment? And I just knew that enough was enough and it had to stop. My experience at Total Life Change was game changing. I developed a brotherhood of friends that I would have never met before. And the leadership team there really cared and dove in with you at whatever level you're at as an addict, whether you were still hard into the addiction or if you were coming out of it, they would come right next to you. The comfort of a sliding scale payment model at Total Life Change allowed me to not have to worry about that aspect of my recovery. I was able just to focus on my recovery and put in the work on the things that I needed to focus on, not worry about how I was going to pay for it on a monthly basis. Thinking back to my first day at Total Life Change, I wanted to run right back out that door. It was scary, it was overwhelming, and I thought, what the heck am I doing here? My advice for anybody that's willing to walk through that door is to stick it through, stay in that chair, put in the work, and be open and honest with yourself, because it will be transforming and it'll be worth it. The medical evidence model that was provided at Total Life Change just came alongside my religious beliefs and really gave me a foundation and an understanding psychologically what was going on in my mind.
Hi everybody, my name is Michael Pritchard and I am a local addiction specialist. I am the owner of Covenant Training and Consulting and work for Fresno County. In 2014, drug overdose became the leading cause of accidental death in the US, above gunshot wounds, above car accidents. Ever since 2014, on average, I believe that the number of overdose deaths has increased by about 20%. So I think in 2015, I think we lost 50,000 people to overdose. In 2020, when the stats came out, we lost over 105,000 people. The pandemic changed everything, right? So we saw a huge increase in, in alcohol problems, in alcohol use. But we also saw an uptick nationally with psychostimulants in addition to opioids. And locally, our overdose rates have gone up. The number one overdose drug in Fresno County is methamphetamine, contrary to what a lot of people think. Another reason I think methamphetamine is a dangerous drug by comparison to opioids is because we don't have a reversal drug for it. We don't have a reversal drug for it. Naloxone works to reverse opioid overdose. We don't have that with methamphetamine. And so we also don't have a lot of effective medically assisted treatment like buprenorphine and methadone. So, you know, we can't treat it effectively with medication, addiction with medication, like we can with opioids. So methamphetamine is a challenge. It's a huge challenge in our valley, up and down the valley corridor, but in California in general. Yeah, so I met Todd formally a few years ago and got to know him a little bit and you know, got to know what he was doing in his program because I was curious. I work in the public sector. So we know that faith-based treatment works well for people, for some people, right? We also know it doesn't seem to work well, at least on the first few attempts, for everybody, right? Same with medical model evidence-based treatment. Some people come in and do really well, but what if a program were to combine those two to where you have evidence-based treatment, you're a full-fledged certified outpatient program, but then you wrap it in pastoral care, not imposing it on people, but making it optional for people to come and get that pastoral spiritual guidance, then you would think that the success rates would be higher, right? So I'm in favor of combining that. Definitely in my own recovery, I needed some tools that you learn in evidence-based treatment that would help me remain clean and sober. But I also needed that spiritual component because after recovery was done, it gave me direction on how to live my life. It gave me a moral framework in which which has bettered my life. It's provides a framework on how we're supposed to live. It gives us purpose, right? So when I came into TLC to talk to Todd, I found out, well, they're doing evidence-based treatment, but what makes TLC unique is that they wrap it in pastoral care. So I think combining those two is really useful. In Fresno, I think Todd's the only one doing it.
So you in the room can make a difference by doing two things. One is first, always pray. Prayer, there's more power in prayer than anything in the world. The second thing is, we really need your financial support. When you give to TLC, those important dollars are going to do the great work to help people help themselves.